Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to our sports show from the independent scene to the main event of WrestleMania. Alright, as we kick off this year, we're doing the showcase of the independents. So when I look at independent wrestling, I divide wrestling into two categories. The WWE, NXT, AEW, Ring of Honor, TNA, New Japan. Those are the big four. Every other company to me is an independent company. Now, obviously, you have some that are bigger than others. You have like the GCWs of the world that run 75, 80 shows. You have companies that maybe run 6 or 8 shows. You have companies that maybe run 12 or 13 shows. And some of the bigger independent companies, such as what we're doing today here, House of Glory, they're able to get talent from TNA, from AEW to run their shows. And they actually will put titles on them and kind of build a program around them. But also, it's independent wrestling. So today's showcase of the independents is going to be House of Glory, 24 best matches of 2024. So first off, House of Glory is out of the New York area. If you've never seen their shows, they're available on Thriller Plus, part of their subscription there, with GCW, Revolver, House of Glory. A lot of great content there. It's definitely well worth it. I've done it like 3 years in a row now. And it's unlimited, and it's like $69.99 a year, and you can watch all these shows. So House of Glory, the House of Glory champion currently is Mike Santana, 399 plus days. The House of Glory Crown Jewel champion is Zilla Fatu, 161 plus days. Now, what I've noticed about Zilla Fatu is from Reality of Wrestling, GCW, now in the House of Glory, each promotion he's been with is kind of that next step up. I definitely, before the end of 25, I wouldn't be shocked if he's part of the Bloodline storyline there in WWE. The House of Glory Cruiserweight Champion is Darren Richardson, 14 plus days. The House of Glory Tag Team Champions, they're using the Freebird rule. It is the Cold-Blooded Killers, which is led by Charles Mason, Noah Katana, and Raheem Royal, 161 days. This is a really cool storyline with Charles Mason. He's this methodical kind of killer, kind of cult leader, and he plays the same character in House of Glory and GCW and everything, and they kind of just add pieces to it. Like in GCW, he went away for murder, and he got out on the technicality. Now he's come back to attack everyone who turned on him, Richard Holiday, Pyro, and in House of Glory, he's kind of the same kind of methodical killer, and just kind of makes these guys follow him, a cult leader. And then the House of Glory Women's Champion is Megan Bayne. And Megan says 161 plus days. You see her a lot in Game Changer Wrestling. At one time, there was talk of her having a developmental deal with AEW. Don't know where that is or anything. But she is somebody that, when she comes out, she just has a presence to her. And so when you're watching these shows and you see her come out, it's like, she looks like she's somebody. She's got the kind of the glamazon look from like Beth Phoenix, kind of that size, that look, kind of Rhea Ripley. I think under the right circumstance, AEW, wherever, even TNA, they could build her up to be this kind of Beth Phoenix-ish champion. So in 2024, House of Glory did 13 shows, 94 matches, 80 men's, 13 women's, and 1 intergender. They did do a show over WrestleMania weekend with Revolver Wrestling. So there's actually going to be a few matches on the top 24 that came from that. Now, of these top 24 matches, I've either rated them 4-star or 3 3/4. And that's literally the best of the best. There's one match that was kind of an honorary mention. If I did a top 25, it'd be on there. That was at the WrestleMania weekend Revolver versus House of Glory show, April 5th. It was for the TNA X Division Championship. It was champion Mustafa Ali versus Amazing Red. Mustafa retained his title, which he kind of knew would happen. 3 3/4. So the top 24, again, these are no particular order. Kind of they're just rated by their star rating. So there's 9 matches that are 4-star. You could legit say any of those 9 matches should be number 1. You can legit say whatever I have as number 1 can be number 9. They're all really close together. So we're going to start this list here. First off, we got from the first 3 are from that Revolver versus House of Glory show. On the Pro Wrestling Revolver Remix Championship on the line. Champion Gringo Loco taking on Ace Austin, Myron Reed, Alec Blanc, Casey Navarro, Nola Catano, and Raheem Royal. This was actually before Catano and Royal joined the Cold Blooded Killers. Gringo Loco ended up retaining that Remix Championship for Pro Wrestling Revolver, which I'm going to do a best of theirs as well, and that was 3 3/4. Also from that show, the House of Glory Tag Team titles were on the line. Champions in the main event, Jay Lyon minus Black versus the grizzled young veterans, James Drake and Liverpool's #1 Zach Gibson, taking on the Rascals, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, taking on House of Glory Tag Team, Red, Alex Colon, and Ricky Shane Page. The main event ended up retaining their titles there. I gave that 3 3/4 star. And then we had title versus title, House of Glory World Champion Mike Santana taking on Revolver World Champion Alex Shelley. Mike Santana ended up winning by disqualification, so he retained his House of Glory title. Shelley ended up retaining his Revolver title and gave that match his 3 3/4 as well. Next on the list, the next two actually come from House of Glory Reckoning on March 2nd. We had Alex Shelley versus Mustafa Ali, kind of a vintage TNA match here. Both guys at the time actually wrestled under the TNA banner. Since then, Alex Shelley's went on to WWE. 3 3/4 star, Mustafa Ali winning. Also from House of Glory Reckoning, the House of Glory Cruiserweight Championship on the line in a Suicide 6-way match, excuse me. I love these matches. They are like a scramble match, which is crazy. We had champion Noah Catano taking on Casey Navarro, Jay Lyon, Raheem Royal, Darren Richardson, and Jay Amani. Casey Navarro ended up winning that match and becoming House of Glory Cruiserweight Champion. The next two also come from Live for the Moment on December 20th, so just recently here. We had a six-man tag match. We had Mike Santana teaming up with the Bookers, which is actually the owners of House of Glory, Amazing Red, and Brian XL, taking on the Cold-Blooded Killers of Charles Mason, Jamani, and Raheem Rule. The Cold-Blooded Killers were able to get the victory there. Those kind of matches were kind of fun to watch this year. Seeing the Cold-Blooded Killers just methodically be them and all the heel stuff and the heel work that they do, and Charles Mason's just fantastic. Next on the list comes from Live for the Moment, the House of Glory Cruiserweight Championship in the 6-way match as well. We had champion Gringo Loco taking on Joey Silver, taking on Tequila, Jay Bougie, Darren Richardson, and Dante Griffin. Darren Richardson, this is the show that he won his Cruiserweight Championship 2 weeks ago. 3 3/4 star with Darren Richardson getting the victory. From House of Glory High Intensity on July 26th, the House of Glory tag titles on the line, champion main event, Jay Lyon minus Black taking on the Cold-Blooded Killers, Charles Mason and Noah Katana. This is where the Cold-Blooded Killers were able to win the tag team titles. Main event, to me, they are one of the top tag teams in independent wrestling. They actually have the honor of wrestling the Briscoes in their last tag team match. Before, unfortunately, lost to Jay Briscoe, Jay and Mark teamed up as House of Glory Tag Team Champions in 2023, December 23, lost the tag titles to main event. 2022. And it was like 2 weeks before Jay's passing. And main event beat the Briscoes for the House of Glory tag titles. That was the Briscoes' last ever tag match. So to me, the main event, they've wrestled the Hardys since then. They're able to hang with some of the top tag teams ever in professional wrestling tag team division. Number 16 on the list comes from Cinco de Mayo on May 5th. We have Laredo Kid taking on Penta El Zero Mieta. Penta El Zero Mieta ended up getting the victory. This is when Penta was signed with AEW. We know he rumored to be in WWE come Monday on Raw. We'll see what happens with that. But definitely has always been one of my favorite luchador wrestlers. Number 15 comes from also Cinco de Mayo, the World Heavyweight title line. Champion Mike Santana taking on Psycho Clown. Mike Santana retaining the title, 3 3/4 star. House of Glory Brace for Impact on January 6th of last year. We had the House of Glory tag titles on the line. Champion in the main event, Jay Lyon and Midas Black, taking on ABC, Ace Austin and Chris Bay. Main event ended up winning that match, 3 3/4 star. Number 13 comes from House of Glory Chicago, Mike Santana versus Donovan Dijak for the House of Glory World Heavyweight Championship. 3 3/4 star match, Mike Santana getting the victory. From October 9th, Believe in the Glory Cruiserweight title line, champion Gringo Loco taking on Fuego del Sol. Gringo Loco retaining his title, 3 3/4 star match. Also from the Believe in the Glory, the Cold-Blooded Killers, Nilo Catano, Raheem Royal taking on Miracle Generation, Dustin Waller and Kylan King for those House of Glory tag titles. The Cold-Blooded Killers getting the victory, 3 3/4 star. Number 10, Believe in the Glory, 6-way scramble match. Amazing Red, Joey Silver, Jay Lyon, Jay Boozy, Darren Richardson, and Jay Amani. Darren Richardson getting the victory. I believe this was possibly number 1 contender for the Cruiserweight title. 3 3/4 star match, and Darren Richardson getting the victory. Number 9, the next 9 are all 4-star matches. Kings from the Revolver versus House of Glory match. Speedball Mike Bailey taking on Masha Slamovich. So we have a heavy TNA presence here. Former TNA X Division champion Speedball Mike Bailey, current TNA Knockouts Women's champion Masha Slamovich. Masha beating Speedball there in a 4-star match. Next up came from August 17th, House of Glory versus Future Stars of Wrestling, winner takes all. The FSW Mecca Grand Championship. Champion Chris Bay for FSW taking on House of Glory's own Amazing Red. Chris Bay, getting the victory there. 4-star match. Number 7 for March 2nd, House of Glory Reckoning, World Heavyweight title line, champion Mike Santana taking on Penta El Zero Mieta. Mike Santana retaining that title in a 4-star match. Next up, High Intensity on July 26th. Amazing Red versus whose house? Swerve's house. Swerve Strickland in House of Glory beating Amazing Red there in a 4-star match. House of Glory, Glory of War on May 25th. Mustafa Ali versus Alec Price. It's number 5 on the list. 4-star match with Mustafa Ali getting the victory. Another TNA wrestler match here in House of Glory. House of Glory World Title line. Number 4 on the list. Champion Mike Santana, House of Glory champion. Former TNA Tag Team Champion with LAX. Taking on former TNA World Heavyweight Champion, former TNA Tag Team Champion with the North, Josh Alexander. What is so cool is they had this amazing match here, 4-star match, back in January of last year in House of Glory, and they are feuding in Impact Wrestling or TNA on Impact. So that's pretty cool. They actually have a match at Genesis, so that should be pretty darn cool to compare that match to this match. Number 3 comes from House of Glory Salvation. Nick Nemeth versus El Hero del Vikingo. Yeah, pretty damn good match. 4-star match. Probably should have went 4 1/4 on that, but just super good match. Enjoyed every minute of that one. Next up, we have House of Glory Chicago, the House of Glory Cruiserweight title line, in a suicide 6-way match. Champion Gringo Loco taking on Amazing Red, Aris, Robbie Eagles, Joe Alonzo, Darren Richardson. Gringo Loco retaining that title. And what I have is number 1 on the list of the 24 best matches of 2024 for House of Glory. House of Glory, Mike Santana presents Puerto Rico weekend, June 8th. House of Glory World Heavyweight title line in the no disqualification match. Mike Santana defending his title versus the founder of House of Glory, Amazing Red. 4-star match. Just one of the best matches Mike Santana has put on lately. Again, Santana's got 3 4-star matches from House of Glory this year, not including what he's done in TNA and other promotions. So yeah, right now, Mike Santana, the House of Glory champion of almost 400 days, is clicking on all cylinders. One of the best in pro wrestling. So as we work on the Showcase of the Independents here in January of 25, we did GCW. Now we're doing House of Glory. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. From the independent scene to the main event of WrestleMania, don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.